Hello, friends, and welcome to today's episode. Brittany is completely freaked out when she wakes up in the middle of the night and finds her baby boy Nathan gone from his crib. When Brittany finds Nathan's onesie left behind in the crib, she thinks her worst fear may have come true. Brittany didn't think her life would feel so split up. She thought she and Carl, her ex-husband, were going to have a second child together. But things didn't work out for the young pair. After months of fighting nonstop, they got a divorce without a fuss. Brittany ran her own business and didn't need anyone, not even Carl, to help her pay her bills. Carl told her during the custody hearing, "Just because you pay the bills doesn't mean you can stop me from seeing my son." After the split, Brittany didn't want to answer any of the mean questions that were being asked. Brittany thought she was strong enough to raise Nathan by herself, and she was determined to show everyone else they were wrong. She didn't want to face the truth, which was that she was trying to prove something to herself. She thought, "This is my son, and he'll know he only needs his mother." Brittany had to hire a full-time assistant to run the business while she was on maternity leave as part of the parenting deal. Brittany got scared when she was alone in the house with Nathan because she knew she couldn't do much if something happened. Not to mention the strange ways she sleeps. "What the heck is going on, Brittany? You're sleeping like a dead person. Not a sound." Daisy, Brittany's mother, used to say, "When you were a child, we would worry that you were unconscious because you wouldn't even move during your nap when people made a lot of noise, but you were just fast asleep." Brittany bought the best baby monitor possible so that if Nathan started to cry, it would let her know right away. Her fears kept getting worse, and she started having trouble sleeping and having even more crazy sleeping patterns. She would go to sleep late at night and wake up early the next morning, scared that something bad would happen to her son. But every time she checked on him, he was sound asleep and nothing to worry about. Once, she had bags under her eyes when she met her friend Natasha for lunch. "Okay, fine. I'm still going to say it. Brittany, I worry about you. It's clear that you're not sleeping, okay?" Natasha said, "I just think that was all very quick. You should call him." Why do people say that over and over again? Carl this and Carl that. As if Carl were a knight in shining armor. Brittany answered, "I'm Nathan's mother, and I can take care of him on my own." Natasha sighed because she didn't want to make her friend mad. "If it helps you sleep at night, that's fine. But you're not telling me something. I'm going to stop pressing." Natasha said, "I just want you to know that I'm here for you." After a few days, Brittany woke up in the middle of the night to the sound of a kid laughing. She stumbled over to Nathan's crib because she was having trouble getting out of bed. It was dark, but she could see him sleeping clearly. It had to have been a dream, she told herself, and went back to sleep. So as not to wake Nathan up, she made sure not to turn on the light. Though Brittany tried not to be too paranoid, she couldn't help but think that something bad was going on in her house. Some things in Nathan's room didn't seem to belong there. Toys were left where she hadn't put them when she put him to bed. Brittany was scared that if she told anyone, they would think she was crazy, especially since she had been so tired from taking care of him by herself. She had to slowly go back to work, if only part-time, so she wouldn't lose her regular clients. This didn't help. Brittany heard sounds coming from Nathan's room again the next night. It was hard for her to tell if it was laughing or crying this time, so she had to check. Bree went back to Nathan's room while still half asleep. She could no longer hear the sound as she walked over. She thought, "Let me just turn on the light to be sure." She quickly turned the lights on and off so Nathan wouldn't wake up when she went to check on him. She thought she saw something in the crib the first time she turned the lights on and off. Nathan was not in his room. He wasn't even able to stand or walk right yet, so he couldn't have gone anywhere by himself. Brittany's heart sank as she stood still with her hand on the light switch. She was shocked at first, but soon turned into scared agony as she looked all over Nathan's room for any sign of him. As she reached for her phone on her desk, she went from barely being able to remember things to being fully awake. As she called 911 from Nathan's room, she ran back and looked around quickly. "Hello, this is the cops. What can I do to help you?" a police officer asked. "That's my son," she said. "I can't," Brittany screamed in a panic before stopping. From the corner of her eye, she had just seen something in the crib. "Sure, ma'am. What about your son? Does he seem okay?" the dispatcher asked. "How can we help?" She reached into the crib slowly and took out a shirt button. "I'm sorry, it's not important." "I'm sorry I called," Brittany said as she hung up the phone. She knew what the shirt button was. A neighborhood tailor had written something special on it. That very same tailor who made Carl a dress shirt for his birthday a few years ago. What began as confusion quickly turned into anger, as Brittany put it. The first time she called, he didn't answer, and Brittany left an angry message. She texted him a lot because she didn't know where Carl was at the time. Asking, "Where are you? Carl, this is not funny. Please call me back or pick up the phone. Can you believe how scared I was? I almost reported a missing child." Carl finally picked up the phone after many failed attempts. Right away, Carl started to say sorry a lot. "Hear this, Brittany. Pay attention. Hey Brittany, I'm sorry. Okay? It was only to see Nathan. I'm allowed to. Remember that the courts didn't give you full custody? Now you've cut me off from my boy's life, and why? Your pride?" Carl spoke. "Sure, why not? Feel free to act like you have forgotten what this is about. Nathan and I are across the street. We need to talk about this." "Because it's gone too far now," Carl replied. Brittany was waiting on the front yard when she saw Carl walk toward the house with Nathan in a stroller. Bree went back outside to talk to Carl, who was walking up and down the driveway after putting Nathan to bed. "Carl, you seem to have a lot to say. Why don't you get it off your chest?" She said this as she took a few deep breaths. "Fine. You can treat me like a bad guy all you want, but we both know what this is really about. I've always been there for you when you had dreams. I quit my job to be a stay-at-home dad and take care of Nathan. I was glad to help us out with that Carl got going." Brittany took a worried look around the yard and then said, "Okay, and?" Carl took another step toward her and said, "You were so busy with work that you forgot about us. Your son and you spent less and less time together as the days went by. Bree, I told you what was going to happen next, but you didn't listen. I forgot about you, Brittany, Nathan. He didn't know who you were. He couldn't remember your smell or face anymore. He would cry when you picked him up. All of a sudden, you started to act like I was to blame. I could tell it hurt you a lot by the look in your eyes. Brittany, I still loved you. I didn't get angry in divorce court or drag out the custody case because of this, but you have stopped letting me see my son." Carl yelled, "It's almost like you don't want him to recognize me anymore." Brittany tried to keep up her angry front, but she started to cry. She hadn't let herself feel anything for so long that she forgot how much Carl loved his family. Brittany remembered how she made fun of Carl by saying she had more money than him and would therefore be a better person to take care of Nathan. She finally knew how badly that had to hurt Carl. Brittany began to cry when she realized what was really going on. After taking another step toward her, Carl said, "I got back to work at my old job, but all I could think about after work was Nathan. When I got home from work, the lights were off, but I saw that you hadn't changed the locks. I took him on walks at night because I wanted to spend time with him, even though it's crazy. Only a few to get to and from the park. That's it. I'll leave and never come back if you really want me to." Before Carl could say anything else, Brittany gave him a big hug and started crying uncontrollably. Carl tried his best to calm her down because she was having a hard time breathing. "It just felt like I wasn't his mom anymore, it was like I was a ghost." She gasped for air as she yelled between sobs. "Don't leave. Please help me. Without you, I've been going crazy here." "I'm sorry I made a mistake," she said. "We'll get through this together, that's fine. For Nathan, if not for us. I'm right here." "I didn't want to leave," Carl said. Brittany and Carl started going to couples treatment to work out their problems over the next few months. So that both Brittany and Carl could work, they asked Daisy, Brittany's mom, and their friends to watch Nathan sometimes. They were able to find a good balance in their relationship as co-parents, and soon after, they started dating again. That's it for today, friends. Please let us know what you think about this story. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon for more amazing stories.